Dr. Anya Roberts is a lecturer in the Department of Political Science and Diplomacy, Veritas University, Abuja. He joins me now to look at the ambassador or ambassadorial nominees, as the case may be. Glad to have you join me tonight on Newsnight. What do you make of the ambassadorial list that the president just presented to the Senate for approval? 17 non-career, more than 15 career ambassadors.
Yes.
I didn't think I mentioned America there as one of the states that. So what do you make of that list?
Well, I think it's the right thing to do, though it came late, after 2 years, though. The list has been sent for confirmation, but I'm looking at, my concern is what the people that are supposed to confirm them should be looking out for, because it's more like a test of the seriousness of Nigeria from the international community perspective. The names, it's a small world, it's a global community. So those names, from wherever you are in the world, you could read up who they are and what they are. But there are things they should be looking out for. Number one, integrity. Number one is integrity. Leadership is part of it, apart from those other qualities that we must, have to be an ambassador. But I think the whole world is watching.
Integrity, character.
Integrity
leadership.
Is there. Good leadership skill. Knowledgeable. You must be knowledgeable. You also have to have good communication skill. You also have sense of decorum. You should be able to know what to do, what to say, because whatever you say or whatever you do out there is representing the image of Nigeria.
Yep.
So those ones confirming, the onus is now on those that are supposed to confirm. You've nominated confirmation. So these are things they should look out for. Because especially now that Nigeria is on the limelight, global limelight. So these are things they should look out for confirmation.
All right. One can't help but wonder, do you think that this was provoked as a result of issues that had to do with Trump declaring Nigeria a country of particular concern? And if that is the case, because you said late, 2 years since this administration came on board, if that is the case, what kind of list do you think this will be? In other words, the quality, is it rushed? If that is the case, what do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say it was rushed, but one thing for sure.
2 years.
Yeah, no, I know it's late.
It's been delayed.
Yeah, it's been delayed for 2 years.
And the talk in most quarters was that why didn't we have ambassadors who would have liaised or been liaising with America, who declared Nigeria a country of particular concern, and not quite long after that we're having this.
One could argue that they already had the list before now. It's your word against the government. But
if you had the list before now, why did you keep it for 2 years?
But one wouldn't know why it was kept for 2 years. But I'm just saying their word against. But delaying for 2 years is not proper, because these ambassadors, they have very good and important jobs to do for the nation. They are the ones that are supposed to tell your stories. The narratives are supposed to come from them. Like what happened to us as a nation, declaring Nigeria as a country of particular concern, was because there was nobody there to tell these stories. So they told the stories about us and then came to the conclusion that Christians are being murdered without getting much more details. Nobody is disputing the fact that Christians are actually being targeted in some parts of Nigeria. But by who? So the ambassador should have been there on time to be able to tell them when things happen. You call them. You negotiate with them. That's what they're supposed to do. Apart from laundering the image of your nation, it is also their job to make sure they do things like trade. Make sure you are protected when it comes to treaties.
Do we even use that word launder image or paint the image as it ought to be? Because launder sounds like not too good a word.
No. When you are being accused of a particular crime, it is the job, it is the duty of the ambassador to go and say, no, that is not actually how it was happened.
It's a wrong narrative.
Do you understand? It's a wrong narrative. It's like somebody else telling your stories.
Yeah.
So at that point, when you are trying to come out from an already existing problem, it's laundering. You need to clean it up because it's already there in the domain. The whole world is seeing you as a country that doesn't like Christians and, targeting Christians. No, that's not the narrative. Christians are actually being killed in their large numbers. And these are the reasons why it's happening. This is because in those places, these are Muslim-dominated, states, and Christians are in their minority. And who are those killing them? These are people that are jihadists that are out to kill Christians, and they are not. It's not done by the government. So the point there, the center of gravity is that it's not done by the government.
They kill everybody. It's not only Christians.
It's not only Christians, but there was nobody to tell the stories there. Nobody was there. That was why I said it took too long. These are very critical nominations. They represent the state. They are supposed to represent the country. So whenever something happens, most times you could remember during President Abiola's during Abiola's election, when Mike O'Brien said that the American government was not going to accept the annulment of June 12 election, and he was given 24 hours to leave. These are things the ambassadors do once in a while. They chip in. When you see that your country is not being treated the way they are supposed to be treated, when you see that it's about your country, you come in. You represent your nation.
I asked you a question about, was this, I think the right word should be, was this was this reactive? And I said, if it was reactive, do you think what happened with Trump provoked it? And if so, what kind of list are you expecting? And with what you have sent there, does the list tell a story about the country and the administration, negative or positive, about Nigeria?
Let me go back to the first question, whether it was reactive or for a country. Anybody could say it was reactive. Anybody could say it was reactive because it came after the pronouncement of President of America, Donald Trump. But like I said, the government can argue out of it because they could say it wasn't. They had their list and they had things they were doing. Before then, that was why it came out late. So on that basis, you can't actually say it was reactive. Now, coming to look at the list of the nominees, you can't really say that the quality. I just mentioned the qualities of what
to expect. What I expect.
So it's now left with the body that is saddled with the responsibility of confirming them. I've already mentioned the things that are required.
Which is the Senate.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not left for the Senate to know. This XYZ person, do they have integrity?
Do they have what it takes?
Basically? Do they have what it takes to be there? Because you could see that whatsoever, this is what we call in diplomacy, circumlocution. Being able to say something, because whatever you say in international relations is believed to be the stand of your country in that opinion. So we're not supposed to have people that are very flippant. You don't have to have someone that's flippant. You have to have someone that has leadership skill, integrity.
I don't want to push you to mention names because I know you won't mention names. So why some states like Plateau has two, a state like Cross River has none at all? Why?
I wouldn't know.
Should it be that way? I mean, should we expect that? I mean,
probably.
When a state has two, I think Abia State also has about two, but Cross River doesn't even have any. I may add as yet, but I mean two, none. You could say one, but two, none. I mean,
it could be in phases. Who knows what
phases?
Yeah, it could be in phases. Who knows what?
Now he's asking the lawmakers to expedite.
Of course,
I laid emphasis when I read that particular news, and that word expedite action. That would mean, fast. Why is it now that the president wants this to be expedited? The issue has been a topic for quite some time, I mean, in the public domain. So why are we talking about expediting now? What happened since?
Of course, as we speak, Nigerian state is on the limelight. So there are actions, everybody is expecting the government to do XYZ thing. So the word expedite doesn't still mean that they shouldn't do their job, judicious. They should still follow due process and do their job. The word expedite in this context might mean hurry up. Leave every other thing that you're supposed to, that is not very important, and then focus on this because of the importance attached to it. But remember that at the stage we are now on this war on terror, these ambassadors have a lot of jobs to do for us there when it comes to negotiation. I strongly believe we would look for some weapons from some countries at this moment. So these ambassadors are supposed to be part of the process of processing the required documentations to bring in those arms or those weapons that we need to be able to tackle the present insecurity we have in the nation. So that could be one of the reasons why the president has said, okay, expedite action, because he has some other things to do with them.
How does Nigeria as a nation begin to correct a system where we do not take the bull by the horn? By that I mean, procrastination. What you're supposed to do today, you leave it for about 2 years. How do we begin to correct that? Does it speak well about the seriousness of an administration, for example?
No, it doesn't. Like I said, it doesn't speak well, but then there are consequences for it. For every failure or gap in leadership, there are consequences for it, which is what we just saw now. So I believe that the government will, as time goes on, try to make such corrections, because there are consequences for anything you don't do in international relations.
There are consequences for anything you don't do.
Yes.
And
don't do on time.
Delays have
Delays,
consequences, Dr. Anya Roberts, a lecturer in the Department of Political Science and Diplomacy, Veritas University, Abuja. It's always good to, pick your brain. Thank you so much for being on News 9.